Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to Love Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my good friend, Maryam Shahnazi, HR Immigration Manager at Tenaris. How are you doing, Maryam?
I'm good. I'm good here. Blessed. How are you?
Blessed, honored. Some people make fun of me because I always lead the show honored and blessed, but I truly do feel honored and blessed to be here with you, here in this industry, having a podcast that anybody's ever heard of. It's pretty cool. So, yeah, feeling it.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I also feel honored. I told myself I finally made it on the show.
Yeah, look at us. Are we doing something here? It's
Yeah.
crazy. You say it's so humbling to me because when I go to these conferences and everything and meet people, and they tell me how much it means to be on the show, and I forget sometimes because I do it so much. But like people will come up to me and they'll say, "Oh, being on the Love and Reload was in my family's newsletter this year. My mom wrote." Oh, and Joan was on a podcast for her work, and like it's
Oh,
cute, the people's parents get in the on the Facebook chat, not as much the LinkedIn, but the Facebook and everything, and
yeah.
it's just really sweet. It's really nice.
Definitely be sharing the video to my family after this and be like, look, mom, look, be proud.
Yeah, awesome. Get in the comments, everybody. Show Miriam some love here. My voice is still a little raspy here. I was in Nashville all week since Friday last week. And I'll be honest with you, Miriam, I'm still trying to get back to normal right now.
How was Nashville? What were you doing out
It
there?
was dope. It was amazing. It was great. We were very thorough in our exploration of Nashville. We left no stone unturned. I discovered some things. I thought it was a big music city. It's really a singer city.
Hmm.
I think the musicianship in New Orleans might be slightly better, but it was a big singing, performing. It wasn't just country. There was a lot of rock and roll, a lot of classic rock, a lot of pop hits, and then we went to this really cool place called the Listening Room, where on stage was three songwriters who wrote all these big major country hits for all these Alan Jackson, Blake Shelton, Rascal Flatts, whatever. And they talked about how they wrote, Alan Jackson's first number one song and the story behind it and how it came together and how it was recorded. And it was just that was a really cool experience, that one.
That's one place I have yet to visit, but plan on visiting soon, hopefully.
You got to go to Nash Vegas. You would really like it. Are
Yes.
you a country music fan?
Not as
That's
much,
why. Yeah.
yeah, but I'll still go, I'll still enjoy the
But
culture there.
yeah, exactly. It's not just for country music fans. I'll
Yeah.
say that. Get in the comments here. Let's check in. If you've been to Nashville, let me know. If you're in or around Houston and you're going to check Miriam out soon, one day soon, let me know. Um, Drew Phillips checking in. Excited for this episode. What's up, Drew? Stacy checking in. What's up, Stacy? Mark Raby. What's up? Gabby. Immigration talk. Yes, Gabby, get in the comments with the immigration comments and questions. We're definitely going to be talking about that. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but it is H-1B cap season right now, so we'd be remiss if we
Yeah.
didn't talk about it. Sammy checking in. Rob Zeitz checking in from Wicked Smart, Cambridge, Mass. Honored to comment.
Hey, Rob.
Rob always got something funny to say. I love being on the show. So excited for this. Unfortunately, their name didn't pop up. Daisy. What up, Daisy? From down the hall. What's up, Daisy? Non Park. Watch party at USI Law from
Red
DC.
line.
What's up, Non? Get in the comments, everybody from USI Law. Hit that like button. Try to get to everybody's comments. You rock socks, sis. Do you know who this is based on just the rock socks comment?
I feel like I may know who that is.
Should we
It's
play
my best friend
guess the
that
guest?
my best friend was like, I'm gonna be on listening, so it may be her.
Nice. Rita checking in. Mar and Ben, lovely. Yeah, it kind of has a ring to it, I guess.
Lauren Ben, I like that.
Yeah, right. It works. Anandita, yeah, amazing. Look forward to the conversation. The product of an amazing immigrant family. So happy she has evolved to be a leader in our industry. Do you want to talk about that just for like a hot second? Talk about your story personally, Miriam, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. Because I know this job is more than just a job for you. It's kind of a calling and a passion.
Yes. So a little bit about myself. I am first generation born in the US. My parents and my brother and sister are from Iran. They came to the US after the revolution. My dad just wanted a better life for his entire family. And fun fact is that My dad is the only sibling that came to the U.S. And for over 30 years, and his brother actually came I think about 10 years ago. So it's just him and his brother that are in the US. All of our family, like our immediate family, is back home in Iran or other parts of Europe. And, I saw my parents go through what they went through being Iranians. It wasn't easy for them. My dad came, worked many jobs. We were fortunate. We have an uncle who, God rest his soul, is no longer here, but he is the reason why my parents were able to come. He petitioned for them, and his uncle. I think Ben, we had an interesting story
We
about uncle.
this we got to talk about your uncle, Maryam.
Yeah,
Can we? Can we?
yeah, of
Because you
course.
it would touch me like it's so deeply. Like we were at a, we were at a, we, I just want to set the table, and I want you to tell the story. Okay,
Of
we were at a
course,
friend's
yeah.
house. We were at a friend's house in Maryland, and having dinner. After the Commanders game. So we were all like having a nice time, whatever. And then we were just kind of touring the home, this beautiful home, and you saw these rugs,
Yeah,
and you had kind of a moment with that, and I just want
I did.
what happened with that? What was explain it?
I just remember looking at the rugs and I said, these rugs look familiar. Oriental rugs are beautiful. If you know of them or have any of them, they're masterpieces. It's artwork. They're all handmade, and it takes years, decades to make them. And when I saw a particular one, I remember speaking with someone, and they told me they got it from someone in Houston. And it made me think, well, there's only a few people in Houston that would have this rug, and only one person that would have this particular type of rug, which was my uncle. And next thing you know, the connection was made that pretty much every single rug in that home was purchased from my uncle's company. And I think that same day was my mom's birthday.
Yeah,
And so I called my mom on FaceTime, and she saw the rug and she immediately knew who it was. So it was just really nostalgic to just be in a room in a different state and see all of my uncle's masterpieces. That's how we would look at it in someone else's home. And of course, being enjoyed. And it was absolutely like a touching, beautiful moment and a really big connection with all of us there. And there was other things that happened, the butterflies. There was just so much that was going on that night that I was overwhelmed in a good way of just like so much happiness, so much joy. And I felt like I was with my uncle there. And even though I wasn't in Houston to spend my mom's birthday, somehow he brought us all together, no matter what, like he always did. And so it was just a really beautiful, magical moment, honestly.
yeah, and you worked in that shop with your uncle,
I did.
didn't you?
I used to jump off all the piles of rugs, and my dad started his career with him. And so we were always in his business, always with him, always doing things with him and learning about the differences within all the different types of Persian rugs, handmade versus machine made. And then my dad made a career out of it as well and kind of just picked up the legacy and kept going.
Wow, it's a beautiful story. And we were standing there in the living room. I remember that, and like you're like, okay, y'all stand on this side, you stand on this side, and then like walk across
Oh,
the rug.
right.
And I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Is this like a sobriety test? Like, what am I supposed to? Anyway, so I'm walking across the rug, and you're like, did you see how it changed colors? And I'm like, huh? Hold up. And I did it again, and then I did it again. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, it went from light to dark. What? How did you know that?
My uncle showed it to us. I mean, it's just the way the rugs are made. There's always a light side and a dark side. So depending on
I
how
had
you
no
place it in
idea.
your home, you just walk around it and you'll find it.
I thought it was perfectly. I assumed it was a perfectly symmetrical, kind of geometric, kind of looking shape, and they
Yeah.
were different. There was so much nuance to it. Honestly, I always, I heard that the Persian rugs were so expensive and so nice and such a, such a luxury. But I had never really appreciated them until that moment. So I appreciate you
Yeah.
talking about that. People are saying, yeah, I love this story. How fantastic to see the way he touched people's lives. They aren't just rugs. They aren't just rugs, and he was the same uncle that sponsored
My
so
dad,
many people, you told me, right?
that
How many people did he
lot,
sponsor?
at least over 100 people. His business
Wow.
sponsored many people. He had locations all over the US. He helped a lot of families come to the US. I mean, back then, immigration was a lot more streamlined, easier. There wasn't so many complexities. And now in order to sponsor someone the way he did, it's just kind of impossible.
Wow. Yeah, that's how my, that's the same similar story that my wife's father had about his own father who sponsored so many people from the Philippines to come over and give them a
Yeah.
permanent address to stay with him until they got on their feet, and it's pretty incredible, and I love your personal connection to it.
Thanks.
Drew's talking about the craftsmanship, very cool. Mark saying what a connection. Somebody
Yeah,
said
I think just seeing my
who's
uncle do all of that for so many people, my passion was to become a lawyer. And then I was a legal assistant in criminal defense. I did litigation, and then I touched on family-based immigration, and that's where I realized, like, no, this is my calling. And then it was very emotional to be on the family-based side when it's including like removal proceedings. And I'm a very emotional person. I kind of like to, it's not that I kind of, I do. I like to connect with an individual and understand and give them compassion and empathy. And then being able to be on the HR side of it and help a company establish, a streamlined process for immigration, and it attracts global talent, and then it helps the individual have a better life. It's like a win-win for everyone, company, employee, and myself.
Yeah, it is so true, right? We have the unique opportunity to be at this incredible turning point in somebody's life. And
Yeah,
it's not just their life, right? It's like generational, like you were saying.
right. It is.
Yeah,
You gotta
super
have some
cool.
fun with it sometimes.
Yeah, let's have a little fun with it too. Non saying in a world of immigration, what are the odds of having that kind of connection in a different part of the country? What a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody said whose house? Well, Nan was there. Actually, if she doesn't mind me saying so, I guess she doesn't. It was Anandita Chaudhary's home, actually,
Yep.
who I think we saw in the chat earlier. So shout out to our good friend Anandita Chaudhary at USA Law. Rashonda checking in as well. Hi, Maryam. Clay Poe
Hi.
checking in. Hi, all. Keep getting knocked out. Ready for some great. Hey, stay on there, Clay. Don't let them keep you out, buddy. People are like in Nash Vegas
Las
here. Yeah,
Vegas.
that's what it's about. Kid Rock's bar is really good. Morgan Wallen's bar is really good. The stage is great. There's a lot of really cool spots there. Yeah. Anna D
Oh,
says,
yeah.
love your story.
And
Yeah, very cool.
I will
And then
forever have a connection with any Dita.
yeah, for sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Gabby's got a question here. Why don't we just get right into? Can we get into
Yeah,
immigration talk a little bit here?
of
All right,
course.
guys, keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming here. Gabby says, curious how companies are planning for possible travel bans. Many U.S. universities are alerting F1 students not to travel. Wondering if corporates are advocating for that approach too. What are you seeing?
So actually, this actually came up in a topic yesterday. Our stance is basically we don't want to tell someone that they cannot travel, especially if it's someone that may not be affected by the travel ban. And because we do not know who all is going to be in the travel ban, our assumption is it's going to be similar at countries that were in it in his first administration. Now, of course, if those countries are going to be on the travel ban, yes, our recommendation is for them not to travel. It's a very hard time, and we cannot force someone to stay in the US, but for their safety and for purposes of being able to remain in the US, the best route would be for them to not travel if they are not one of the countries that are affected by the travel ban. I think that anyone that's on a visa, regardless of their nationality, because of the new extreme vetting that's being put in place, I think it's going to be complexities around travel in general. Some CBP officers may be a little bit more harsh at the entry. So it's just really educating your stakeholders and just talking with individuals and staying up to date with your immigration firm in case there is a travel ban that gets put out, which I believe it should be out in the next few days, that they're communicating that with you, and you also put some sort of a communication out to your entire organization about it. Because at times there's some individuals that we may not know is working for the company, like F1 students, they have the OPT EADs, and not always do, if it's a big company, you're going to know who exactly is on that EAD. So it's good to keep the communication with everyone within the organization. But yeah, we've been putting a communication plan in place for that.
Now, do these travel bans come out of absolutely nowhere like all the other executive orders do, or do they give you like a 2 week heads up or something like that?
So I think they're going to be coming out in the next few days. They said, I think it was in January, whenever he went in office, he did say within 60 days of him being in office, he would most likely come out with the travel ban. Now, does he always give us a heads up? Not always, but for the travel bans, yeah, it's coming pretty soon. So 60 days is in about 7 days since he's been in office, I believe.
Yeah.
It's
And
coming up.
they have not announced yet what countries are included.
No, the anticipation is that it's probably going to remain the same, like a Muslim ban. Last time he was in office, it was strictly around Muslim countries. And they're assuming it's that we have the assumption, I mean, just us people and that we speak is maybe some Latin countries because of what he's doing with TPS and Venezuela and the whole issue with Colombia and all of that.
Colombia,
We're
yeah.
hoping that that doesn't happen because that would affect, I mean, any ban, any travel ban will affect many companies, but adding to it and just make it more complex than what it already is.
Great question, Gabby. Gabby's always got such wonderful questions there.
Yes.
Francisco Solis says, "Hey Ben, here to learn from Maryam." What's up, Francisco?
Francisco's the one that has the more knowledge. I mean, we have to bring him on the show next time.
Yeah, what's up, Francisco? The problem with this show and Francisco is this show is from here up, and what's usually most interesting about Francisco is what he's wearing on his feet. He's always got the flyest kicks, so I got to do it like I got to do it like an ankle down show with
Yeah.
Francisco. We'll just
You
be
know,
our feet
so
sitting at a
with him.
conference
Yeah.
talking. Nah, we love Francisco. It's good to see you. Last time you were here in Dallas, Francisco, you got to stop by next time you're in Richardson. I know your company's headquartered there or has an office there. So, but you mentioned the extreme vetting. Talk to us a little bit about what that means. We've heard, this talked about extreme vetting. Now it's it's a little bit into it now, and we're kind of like, seeing it kind of in practice. So help us understand a little bit what is extreme vetting.
Yeah, so they are going to be reviewing applications with higher scrutiny. One of the things that I was told from our immigration attorneys were that any renewals that are going to the consulate, the whole process of doing the blanket L is being able to send someone back to a U.S. post in their foreign home country. Well, that's going to be more scrutinized. They're going to start looking at applications that are up for renewal. They're going to look at it as a first application instead of giving that. Typically, they were more lenient to approving a renewal because they've already obtained the initial visa. So more scrutiny, higher request for evidence, which was very similar to what happened in his first administration. But it's going to get even more scrutinized on applications, possibly more denials. One of the things that was brought to my attention was that L1Bs, they're now, although the having a degree is not required for the visa type, consulate posts and USCIS are now looking more into an L1B individual having the degree and the role having a degree itself or requiring a degree. Not all roles require a bachelor's degree for many companies, and the ones that don't, if you're trying to bring global talent to fill that role, they may be scrutinizing those applications more simply because they can.
What do you do? What do you do in that case? Like, are there strategies and things that are emerging, right now that you're seeing companies consider or begin to implement?
So for us, it's all about the business need. Understanding that sometimes you have to put someone in a position fairly quickly and there's not enough time to train them. And it does make sense to bring global talent for that role. It's really having a clear communication of the process. Sitting down with the stakeholders and letting them know, like, hey, I understand that this is the person for you. We'll do what we can do, but I want you to understand the risks associated with it. They're scrutinizing more on these visas. They are requesting certain types of documents that originally they wouldn't have requested that. So for us, it's just preparing ahead of time and kind of changing like policies around to fit all the changes that are happening within immigration, and just really communication, working with all HR teams, trying to find a way to strategically plan, workforce or setting up expectation for business unit leaders because they don't have the time to wait, nor at times do they understand why it's becoming complex. So having patience, and then just doing what you can, but not at the same time, not killing yourself to make it happen.
Yeah. Um, I'm going to ask you a little bit about, your specific company and the way that, the visa types that you're using. Can you break down some of the key visa types your company is commonly using?
Yeah, so we have a blanket L. We primarily use the blanket L. We also use the TN visa category, and then of course the famous H-1B. We don't have many individuals on the O-1 visa, but when we do find a unique skill set for a specific role, we do exhaust that as well. We don't have the E visa, the E2 or the well, E3 are for Australians, but we do not use the E2 visa. So primarily for us, it is L's, H's, TNs, and we love F1 students. We like bringing them in. We have a global trainee program, so typically they're fresh, college graduates, and a lot of them are under F1 status. So we develop them to kind of understand our company and our culture, and that's pretty much the bulk of the visa types that we use.
Yeah, and you mentioned the H's, right? So it's H-1B cap season right now. It started a
Right.
week ago.
Yep.
So how are you feeling right now?
I'm excited. I think that, when USCIS implemented the whole registration process to be online, it took them a few runs to see where it could be improved. I think there was a year where a lot of companies were submitting the same person under different
Heard
entities, which
about
makes,
that. Heard about that.
yeah, making it really hard. I mean, all the visa numbers, it's limited. So if you're putting the same person in different entities, it can show fraud. I can get that. So now that they've implemented where it's like by the passport and they can't put this person in different entities, I think that's going to make it a higher selection rate this year, hopefully. But we'll see. I mean, it's the lottery. We say literally, it's a lottery. It's a
Yeah, for a reason.
promotion. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I get excited when I submit someone in the master's cap. I've seen a higher selection rate in the master's cap whenever I have
Talk to us
submitted.
about that. What does that mean for people that aren't aware?
So H-1B, they give out 85,000 visas a year. 20,000 of those go to anyone that holds a U.S. master's degree or higher. And basically, if you have a master's degree, you get put into that lottery selection, and the selection rate for that specific category is much more higher than the regular bachelor's, which is 65,000, and it's U.S. bachelor's degree or a foreign equivalent.
Okay, so it's almost like there's like two. There's like a lottery within the lottery. There's the Masters
Right.
lottery, and then there's
The
the
regular
regular
one.
regular. Now are all the Masters candidates also entered into the regular lottery?
No,
Okay.
not that I'm aware of. Well, I've never done it strategically like that. I
Okay.
don't know if that's really an option, but if there's masters, we're keeping you in the masters. And I don't think you can submit someone in two different lotteries now that they put that new rule in place, one passport. So it would only be one registration.
Yeah. Where's our lawyer friends out there?
Yep.
Get in the comments and let us know
I don't
here
think
if
you
we're
can.
we're allowed to do that. I'm always looking for a
You can't
loophole
throw
out
those
here.
trick questions at me either. Okay. I'm not ready for that.
I want some legal advice. I don't care what it costs. I don't care if it costs $500 an hour. I want to know the answer to this question right now.
It's a yes or no.
Yeah, let me know about it. Um, what are the some of the challenges though? When you talk to your friends at other companies that kind of sit in the global mobility immigration seat at companies, what are some of the challenges that they're seeing? Just kind of generally speaking, whether it be pertaining to H-1B cap season or just generally under this administration that they've been working through.
Honestly, it's the delays. It's just everything is taking longer and longer, and then it's resulting to employees maxing out in their visas. And sometimes a lot of companies are set on a policy, and there's really no exceptions to some policies. And knowing that, for example, we recently made some changes to ours to where we can have some leniency when it comes to when we start the green card process. Our rule is what it is, but we've implemented an exception route should we need to for specific cases, because understanding that companies want to ensure that the investment that they're making is a good investment, but also keeping the person, the human aspect of it into consideration. So every time I speak with someone from another company, they're always, it's the delays. It's
Hmm.
just social media, the news. And then
Yeah.
when someone sees something online, they start to get, anxiety. Then they come to their HR person, like, is this going to happen to me? So it's a lot.
Give me an example of something like that because I hear that too, but I never really know what that means exactly. What are people kind of getting into or reading, or where do they go for information or potentially misinformation?
Um, Honestly, the news, Fox, I've seen things, screenshots come from there, Instagram, where they're showing some sort of a social media posts where one of the little news outlets are trying to explain something that's really not actually what it is. So it's really all social media, to be honest, and some of the news
Yeah.
outlets.
I see it on Reddit too sometimes. I see people like
Yes,
sending me
Reddit. Yes, I've
like,
seen it there
yeah.
recently.
Sometimes I get on these Reddit immigration forums and they're like
Those are
bashing
my favorite.
firms and they're like, my employer told me this, the firm told me that, and I'm seeing this on the news. It's like, oh gosh.
If it doesn't come from a USCIS website, it's what I say. If it didn't come from USCIS website or our attorneys in an email from the attorney, let's just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, People are going in the comments here. This is interesting. We're getting answers to our questions. Look at
Yes,
this.
this is all I
Fantastic.
need. Let me ask some questions as well. I need some people.
Yeah, maybe the guest starts asking the questions here while we're at it. And Aditya says you cannot file it in
Nice.
both
That's what I thought.
categories. Cool. Rachel says you used to have two chances if you had a higher degree. If you didn't get picked in the master's, you defaulted to the bachelor's. She's asking if it changed. And Aditya says, but once the master's cap selections are done, there is a possibility the USCIS will throw the unselected registrants into the non-master's cap bucket. But as a petitioner, you can't. So you don't file them, but you may get considered. So
USCIS will do it themselves.
So actually, my dumb question actually may have some validity to it. That's my takeaway. Is like, was I right or not? Um,
You're always
this is
right.
I mean, it's my show, right? If I'm not being right, we just start kicking off commenters. No, just kidding. Non says U.S. I kind of run this thing like the Oval. Non says U.S. Embassy staff reductions in large incoming countries can also contribute to longer delays, which often not noticed until very late in the process. Are you seeing this? Is this impacting you guys?
Not yet.
Staff reductions at the embassy,
No, our visas have been
embassies.
getting processed, knock on wood, pretty good. We have a really good immigration team. They support us and we appreciate them for everything because our our program isn't a straight cookie cutter. We have a lot of complex cases, a lot of business needs, and luckily we've had a really good process in place, and the consulates have been approving our visas. We are avoiding the TN, but that's just what
Well,
it is.
tell us why the TN.
There's just been higher denials for the engineer category at the at the U.S. consulates in Mexico that we've been seeing, and also our immigration attorneys. So we just review them on a case by case basis, which kind of sucks because, like I said, you can't tell someone don't leave, don't travel. What if there's a family emergency? And all we do is, well, actually, I have a template email that I use, and I send to employees that say, we don't see an issue with it, but just keep in mind that there's always a risk traveling. We can't
Hmm.
predict it, but just make sure you carry these documents with you. And for an additional touch, we'll give you an updated employment verification letter just to show that you do have employment in the US and you should be able to come back. So just kind of communicate. I feel like that's the whole thing these years is just communicate and transparency.
Yeah, communication's always a word that gets thrown around a lot here. Um, Gabby says she agrees regarding the delays, need to really plan for long processes for the employee and their spouse. How many? I mean, how many more days, weeks, months are we talking about? Can you give us an idea what you're seeing from a delay standpoint, Maryam?
Oh man, I mean, the perm process itself with the Department of Labor, we had a perm application filed and it took exactly 518 days for the perm to get certified. That's the main case that I use
Wow.
for examples. I mean, prevailing wages are taking the normal time, I think 6 months. I've been seeing that stay the same, but then that perm application, and then there's a backlog with priority dates. So you take like 3 years on the perm, and then when you're finally at the stage where you can file the I-140 with the green card application, you can't file the green card application because your priority date's not current.
Wow. That's got to be frustrating. How do
It
you
is.
deal with that frustration? Like,
I just say
that's,
I love my job. I love my job. I love my job.
well, you love the helping people part, right?
I
But like the process stuff has to drive you nuts.
It does, but I'm very fortunate. I have a wonderful team here at my company. My boss really does step in a lot. My analyst helps me a lot, and we all work together as a team and brainstorm other visa options can we do for
Hmm.
individuals. And if we can't, talk to the development team and say, hey, is there an opportunity for a promotion for this person in a different type of role that would change their visa to, for example, going into a managerial position so that we can exhaust an additional 2 more years because lots of visas have max outs. So what can we do? So we're always constantly working strategically to find a solution. Immigration isn't just legal. It's not just paperwork. I usually see it as a strategic asset to a company, working with the other HR team members and seeing what can we do to get this person to the finish line. Because that's what makes me happy whenever I get an email of the adjustment of status being approved and, hearing what they went through. There's, a fun fact that I'll actually mention is that before I started my previous role, I was at Fragment. I used to actually run the Tenaris account. So I had a very big connection with a lot of the employees. And now that I'm back at Tenaris, but actually as their HR manager for their immigration program, I met some of the employees that I had worked with, and they were barely getting their green cards approved. And I had been gone for about 5 years. So that's a long time.
Wow.
And then hearing them and then them thanking me, and I'm like, that wasn't me. That was the legal team. I just did a little bit of work, and it's very, it's crazy to be back and be on the other side with them and see them finish and then hear their story and the struggle that they had these last few years. And some of them were not able to travel. And then family members, things happen to family members and not being able to see family members. It just really touches you in a way of like, it doesn't get easier, it gets harder. So,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, really. That's great. That's a great share. Here, we got some people coming in here with comments and questions. Get your comments and questions in the comments for Maryam, and we will take them all. Gabby says, Maryam, what's it like to go from a law firm to a corporate for you? She did it also.
yeah, that's awesome, Gabby. Wow, that's a very good question. I love it. If you were to ask me if I was to go back, my answer is never, but they say never. It's really, I love it. Like I learned the legal aspect of what goes into an application. And then I got the opportunity to work in global mobility for my previous company. And I was able to share my expertise, educate people internally, build programs out, and also learn global mobility because that was something that I always wanted was to understand global mobility and what goes into it and relocation because all of that ties together. So it's been amazing. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of employment law matters as well because I am on the HR side. So we have to understand the different employee relations issues that we deal with because it's not just, mobility and immigration that we deal with. We have to make sure that we're not discriminating. We're not doing certain things that we're not supposed to do based off of employment law in the state that we are working with. And being in a global company, you have to keep in mind all states in the US. It's not just the one that you're headquartered in or doing. You have to understand all of the legal aspects of being in HR, and you're pretty much the neck to the company. So it's been amazing. I've learned so much. I've learned a lot about myself and what I want for my career. Like I said, my plan was to be a lawyer, and I had kind of reached the highest of my, you know, paralegal career. And then I realized what's next. And then being in HR, it just really made me more passionate about it and just made me know that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. What made you change your mind about being a lawyer?
I was making really good money.
And didn't want to go take on a whole mess of
I'm
debt
kidding.
and take a
No,
step
that
back.
that and also going to law school, that you can go part-time or full-time, but going part-time, you're limited on working. You're not really able to do as
Right.
much. Your focus needs to be really with law. And for me, it just was hard for me to go back my
Yeah.
personal like living situation, my financial situation,
Yeah.
having to stop working. I mean, everyone still tells me to this day it's possible to do. It's always there in the back of my mind. I mean, who knows? I may just go back and no one's gonna know and just be like, hey, surprise, like I got my law degree. I'm a JD now. But honestly, I just started working in the field and loved what I was doing. And I saw the stress that the attorneys dealt with. And I was like, I'm okay with handing you the paperwork and leaving and
Mhm.
not having to stay with everything. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of things. I mean, it's still in the back of my mind. It's always there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You talked about all the great things about going over to the corporate side. Rashonda wants to know, what was your biggest challenge with the transition?
Oh, thank you, Rashonda, for asking that. Actually, Rashonda was my old director at my previous company. I think my challenge was on the legal side, you like to provide more and like give more. And coming onto the corporate side, you have to understand how to deal with different levels of personalities and stakeholders. So getting acclimated in my role where I just dealt with one client, one person, and I knew how to handle it. And moving into a company where I had to understand that there's different levels of collaboration, there's different personalities, not to take things personal. So there was a lot of challenges of me transitioning into a role of where your responsibilities are more than just one line of business. You have to deal with multiple different types of people. So just getting acclimated with the different cultural differences and then just personality differences. But for the most part.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, that's one of the things that we hear a lot from our folks that sit kind of on the corporate side is this: you have stakeholders coming from every direction, right? I mean, you're serving the business, all different kind of areas of the business, and they have all these different kind of different line managers and everything, and everyone has different levels of understanding about the process, right? So you have to
Right,
constantly set that level set with everybody.
right. But having a good like mentor is good at the same time. Having a good leader is really important. Communicating and just saying like this is what I'm lacking will really help you kind of progress in your career.
Gabby's got a little non sequitur here, but related to consulates, I wonder if the appointment wait time site is down for good.
Hmm.
Not. This is the best part about what we do. It's not really news. It's kind of just we're like those forums, but for professionals that actually know what's going on. Now it's like maybe they laid off the guy in charge of refreshing the website. Elon interviewed him and said, "Hey, what do you do here? Oh, we don't know. We don't need that." And then they just now it just doesn't work anymore. And
Oh
now yeah,
gosh.
and now
Ugh.
people just call Anandita and they say, where's my green card? She says 18 to 20 years. Call me back
Oh
because
my
that's what it takes
gosh, that
sometimes.
that question right there. That question.
Yeah, I mean, she says Anandita says, "Can you all joking aside? I mean, we're joking, but I mean, obviously these are people's lives here, right?" And
Right.
she says, "Can you imagine what it feels like for your green card taking 18 to 20 years to process?"
I mean, if you think about
Gosh,
it, there are nationalities that do wait that long almost. You know,
yeah,
Indian
India is
nationals
that.
are
Yeah,
waiting. Yeah.
and they're yeah. Ah,
And
sheesh.
Chinese nationals, they wait a very long time. Not as long as Indian nationals, but it's getting worse. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember about, I think it was 7 years ago or 6 years ago, where the priority dates advanced significantly, where many Indian nationals were finally able to file their applications, and then you could downgrade from EB2 to EB3, and then a few months later, it retrogressed right back to where it was. And a lot of people lost out that window, and then they downgrade to EB3, and then they didn't get an approval, and now they're at a even longer waiting period.
Oh my gosh, it's like not even a real amount of time to me. It's
You
like
know,
it's crazy. Rachel saying so much empathy in this kind of role. We hear so many personal stories. I wish I could help them more. Interesting to hear your story. I'm with you. I worked a few years for a law firm as well, and certainly prefer the corporate side, but love being able to say I experienced all sides.
right?
Anandita said, I did it. I was full time in my job for 8 to 6 in law school from 6 to 11 for 3.5 years. Oh my gosh. Anandita has the best work ethic of anybody I've met in
See
this
that.
industry. She's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Francisco checking, yeah, downgrade 2020. Yep.
Yeah, there you go, 2020. 5 years ago.
Super interesting. Get in the comments here. We got time for maybe a couple more questions here, so I'd love to hear from you, especially the corporate folks out there, Francisco, Rachel. Yeah, get in there,
I
or
have
if
a question
USLR,
for
any of
you,
those other
Ben.
folks want. What's that?
I have a question for you.
You got a question for me? Are we turning the
Yes,
tables here? And
we
I get to be the
are.
guest now? This is
Yes, your
fantastic.
turn. What's one piece of advice that you can give someone that is trying to get their career on, like in a podcast world?
Well, so so they're trying to get to start a podcast, or they're
Right.
trying to, yeah, they
Might
want to
be,
get.
you never know.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I appreciate the question, because I think a lot of people think about it, right? So the one thing I would say is just start. The second thing I would say is lower your expectations for what you think success looks like. Success really, it's like going to the gym. Not that I've ever been, but what I hear is it's like going to the gym. You success is just getting out of bed in the morning and going, right? It's not like you're gonna look yourself in the mirror after the end of a 1 hour workout, first day, and you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I see the difference. You do that every day for 5 years, and you're gonna see a difference. But you can't; it's imperceptible. So I would say that's one. And the second thing I would say is I think people have a very rigid understanding of what a podcast, quote unquote, is, and that kind of goes back to that expectations thing, because what we do here, I call it a podcast kind of just for shorthand, so people know kind of what it is. But a lot of people wouldn't consider this a podcast for the simple fact that it doesn't appear in Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere that you get your podcast, right? So is it a podcast? Well, does it really matter? Because what it's doing is it's accomplishing two things. One, it's getting your story out and stories of others. And two, I think it's increasing your relevance and personal brand, right? So if
Right.
those are your two objectives, it checks those boxes. So I would say, check your expectations and be consistent for the long haul. Just keep doing it. And then my third like bonus one is do something you don't have to edit, because editing I think is where everyone dies. They die. They die on the cutting room floor, because there comes a point where it's never perfect, it's never right, it's never all the way done, and you just got to hit that publish button, and people just choke on like pushing that button, and you just got to push that play button and push that publish button, and when they're the same button like it is here, then it gets a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, I love what you do. I think having the show and giving people the opportunity to share their story, and then also having that leaving space for one for me, I want to do more public speaking. So this is something that I can add to my list. Like I was able to do another event, or I'm able to kind of talk about a very hot topic where, as you can see, that everyone has the same struggles. So just you bring that awareness and that space for people to just be vulnerable and genuine. So I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. It's really nice to feel seen, because you do these things all the time. You're like, who's watching? How many people are out there? What if 11 people are watching and 3 are on your staff? Did you really do anything, right? And then
Yeah,
sometimes you have these amazing shows, but then what I realize also is like no matter how many people are watching, it means something to the guest, right? And that
right.
person got a chance to come on and be heard and be seen. And so I always try to remember that what we're doing has a purpose greater than just like putting my face out there. It's really about putting the face out of people like you who have the courage to come on and share your story and let me ask you kind of candid, vulnerable questions. And then also the folks that are in the comments right now. So many people get to network in the comments and get to know one another through commenting and being a part of what we're doing here. That's why I think honestly what we do here is better than a podcast in a lot of ways, because
Yes,
you get the
for
community
sure.
chiming in. And and honestly, like without people like Stacy, I wouldn't know how I look when I hold my manly Stanley up to my shirt.
I told you, man, real men wear pink.
Yeah. Well, but real men get pink Stanleys. So, I think that's important to know I'm a real man. No, it's my wife's Stan. My wife got that as a gift for being the president of the early childhood PTA in our town. And I just jacked her Stanley cup.
Oh my gosh.
I drink more water than she does. She's like a sipper. I'm a chugger, and I
Yeah.
just need a lot more gas to run this truck. You know what I mean? So I took that big old Stanley. I did it. I'm not ashamed. Rachel Longo says, yes, Ben, would you spend time with them and let them follow you in your day? Yeah,
Yeah.
we love having people here, Rachel.
Imagine an episode where like spend a day with Ben.
I mean,
We're on to something.
I mean, I'm down. It's a good time, but it's harder than it looks, though. My team will tell you. Rashonda says, so true. Don't wait for perfection. Just post it. Yeah. Editing is a killer. That's a phrase worth framing. Editing is where it dies.
I like that.
Dope. Drew, I'm watching Ben. I'm watching you watch me, Drew. I love you, man. Mark Raby, this was a fantastic session. Appreciate you. Pink for the win. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
For
always.
sure. So you want to do you think about doing a podcast, Maryam?
I wouldn't mind. Actually, kind of, I'm thinking about doing a business of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got lots of advice about that too. There's a
We
lot
have
of
to
ways
get
not to
into a
make any
separate
money out
call.
there. Yeah, and I'll let you
I mean,
know.
I feel like I have so much knowledge and expertise in what I do. Like, why not make it into something like consulting or
Yeah.
partners? But then it's like, do I really want to do that?
So what I would always tell people when they're kind of in this mode, right, is like make a list of all the things that you would do for free, that you love to do, that you would do for free, and then rank them in the order of what people would pay you money to do.
Okay.
And then that's your list. That's your list of businesses, right? Because like shit, I got real intense there. It zoomed in on me,
You
like
did
it's like do do do. That's wild. That's so funny. These AI cameras. But yeah, that's what I would do, and then I think that helps to narrow the list a little bit.
Yeah. We'll see.
We'll
Stay
see.
tuned.
We'll chat about it. We'll chat about it. Appreciate you people out there. Ritu, thank you. Cameron, Killer Cam, appreciate that one. Thanks, Jay Hall. We got off the rails here. Let me ask you this. Here's a quasi-immigration, quasi-personal question, right?
Okay.
If you could swap citizenship for, amount of time, could be a short amount of time, long amount of time, whatever. Where would you swap citizenship with? Just for a day. How about just for a day? Any country, what would you pick?
Switzerland or Portugal or Spain.
You have a list.
Options. I have a list. I keep dreaming about it. I would always say, like, if I'm sending people all over the world to work, I should find a way to go somewhere and work somewhere myself. And it would be somewhere in Europe, honestly. Anywhere in Europe, I would be happy. Well, not anywhere, but mostly.
Yeah. But Switzerland was at the top of the list, though. Why Switzerland?
It's just so
Because
beautiful
Portugal,
there.
I get, yeah. It
It's
is gorgeous.
beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's so much to do. I have family there. That's another reason why I would go, is just to be with my family. And every time I see something, and it's one of my favorite places to go visit that I have like on my travel bucket list for the next like 5 years. And it's just peaceful. Like reading about the lifestyle that everyone has there, it's peaceful and not so much to worry about how it is here at times. I mean, I love where I am here, but if I had the option, I would love to go to Swiss. It would be beautiful.
I love it. I love it. You know what? The peaceful thing is funny. I've only traveled through the Zurich airport, and I was walking like from gate to gate or something. And I walked by these like enormous glass windows, and I saw out of it like this little countryside valley and this
Weren't
like
you
up
in
to this
awe?
mountain. And I was just like I'm used to like walking by Newark or something, like seeing out the window, just looking like
Yeah.
swampland or whatever. And I just looked at this. I'm like, man. And you're right. Like a whole piece just fell over me, and I just wanted some raclette or something. I just wanted some melted cheese on a baguette, and just
Oh,
go milk a cow or just ski down a slope and do something like that.
yeah. I would love to live countryside, have my own cows, make my own cheese, do, fun things like that. But oh, see,
Yeah,
Clay, we have to go.
Clay's in it, and Non actually spent a lot of his life there in Switzerland. I think he went to school there, and
Oh,
maybe grade school too.
wow,
Yeah.
see, there's a lot of
We
connections there.
All right, we got a couple questions. Look at Nafis is already like, "Where's my overrated, underrated at?" Yeah, Nafis, pump the brakes, baby. Pump those Ferrari brakes, Nafis. Okay, you're going too fast, buddy. Too fast.
One of my favorite cars.
You didn't. I don't know if you got a chance to see Nafis's Ferrari, but it's a sweet little
No,
black one.
I
Yeah,
would have been, I would have drove, I would have been like, bye.
peace out. let's see. People are signing up for the spinoff. Yeah, let's get a list out there. Samara, can we get a list out there? People want to do a
You
day in
can't
the
do it
life.
your first episode if I'm not there. Like I have to be there. I want to be the wing woman. I
The
want
wig
to hold
woman
the
day in the life.
camera, whatever it is.
Dope. Hey, we'll start co-hosting. We'll do guest co-hosting in the office here.
Mar and
I just
Ben take over the world.
I like Mar and Ben's excellent podcast. Dope. All right, Francisco. Okay, we got two more questions. Last two questions, and we're going to get into overrated, underrated, so people don't freak out. Francisco says, "Can you discuss how you manage visa holders' expectations with your organization's policies and procedures?"
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I've said this so many times. It's just being very transparent and communicating with them, letting them know that there are other types of visas that we can apply for them as long as it's within policy. We'll be able to do that. Also, telling the employees to have conversations with their managers, set expectations with your manager, because I do believe that your manager does play a big part in your career growth. We can only do so much as an organization, and we are limited to policies and procedures. But if you are clear with your manager can maybe put something in plan for you, and speak with other stakeholders to get a favorable result, and then work within our policies and procedures. But sometimes there's some things we can do, and there's some things that we can't. But we're always going to be there to support.
Great answer. Great answer. It's like Family Feud. Great answer. Great answer. All right.
Thanks for the hard question, friend.
You thought you were getting off this thing alive, didn't you?
Yeah.
All right. We got one more. We got one more hard question for you from Rachel here. Rachel Longo says, Maryam, have you been able to offer support plans for any workers needing humanitarian relief? Without going into details, do you have any concerns / impacts in June?
So it depends really on it's not necessarily the person itself. The role has a lot to do with it as well. So do we have people that are on the humanitarian Proli program? Yes. We have provided them support. We have been giving them contact information for our legal team to get any additional information. The way we see it is, these individuals were able to obtain it. There's things that we can't control with the new administration, but we do have these external providers that can support you with guidance, and we heavily lean on them. So we try to set up meetings. Actually, we do have monthly calls with individuals that are on the relief program, that letting them know of any updates that we have. But that's really the most that we can do. We're just limited so much with these individuals that we're basically at the mercy of the new administration and what they want to do. So we just try to communicate with them and saying that we're staying up to date. We did implement something with our immigration firm where to notify us of these types of changes, not by just their central line of communication, like a specific email for us, for our community, to where we can share it if something does come up. So we're doing the most that we can, but we're really limited when it comes to these programs, honestly.
And do me a favor and explain to people what happens in June, because that was part of the question.
I think what that's referencing is if they're going to end the Parolee program. I'm not too sure the exact impacts in June. I'm thinking of one person in general in my mind that we had filed an asylum for them as a backup because they were paroled in. But they were able to apply for their EAD in June. For some reason, that came to my head, but I'm not too sure. Rachel,
Rachel, throw it in there.
In June.
We need more detail. Throw it in there. Ritu Dubé starts the bidding here with a day with Ben Cross. Yes, the bidding opens at, what do I open the bidding at? No, we got to do a little more than that because I want to buy lunch and buy some drinks.
Okay,
like
2,000.
Something nice. Yeah,
Okay,
so I was thinking of let's open it one. We'll open it $1,000, and we'll go from there. Anyway, this is too much fun. I'm having too much fun. That's not some NDAs. It'll be crazy. All right. All right. Let's see here. Yes. You know what, Nafis, the moment you've been waiting for. Overrated, underrated. Maryam, you want to play a game?
Sure.
All right, let's go. We're going to play overrated, underrated. The segment you've all been waiting for. Get in the comments, hit that like button. Root for Maryam, support her, tell her she's right. So, do you know how to play the game?
No.
Okay, there's basically two things you got to know. One, I will give you a topic and you will tell me if it is overrated or underrated.
Okay.
Those are only two options.
Okay.
I will tell you if you're right.
Great.
All
Is there
right,
like
let's
a
get
cheat
into it.
sheet?
Yeah, there's a cheat sheet. Work from home, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Okay, tell me why.
I mean, if I didn't have to wake up and spend an hour and a half to get ready, walk my dog, get him ready, feed, and all that great stuff, and finally be out of the door, I could start working earlier. And then I get a lot done at home. I feel like sometimes it's good to have that distraction where you don't have people coming to your desk all the time. But I also feel like being in the
That's
office
me.
helps too. Yeah,
Yeah, I am that distraction for
I'm like
people
a
coming to your
hybrid
desk.
person.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now currently you hybrid now or what's your deal
I
now?
am, but I'm here every day because it just makes sense. I'm new in this role and it's more of a higher position where it's more visibility, so I need to meet with a lot of people.
I'll be honest with you, the distractions I got a lot of distractions at home. I felt like every time I got off the call, I had to get up, take a walk. I had to go I had to hit that kitchen, see, make sure everything was okay in there, make sure nothing changed in the fridge.
Yeah.
That was a distraction for me. So we're in office now and I like it. When you're in the office now, I mean, what are you doing in there? Are you you feel obviously compelled to be there, even though you technically have a hybrid situation. So why is it that you're in?
Um, One, being new in the role, being new, just trying to put my face out there, get to meet people. And also we're kind of coming off the hybrid scheme. So we're in 4 days
Hmm.
at home 1 day. So it's not like we're at
Okay.
home that much. And I'm right down the street from my home. I'm not far from my office. So it makes it easier for me to come in. And I really enjoy my team. So I love my boss and I have a really good relationship. The analyst that works with us is amazing. So we have like a friendship slash good working culture. So and it's good when you get to work and you're working with people that make you happy. So it makes it being easier to be at the office and it's easier to
Yeah.
get a hold of someone. Like, I need you to get to this questionnaire and you haven't done it. You haven't responded to the reload provider and we need to ship this or we need to do this, we need to do that. So it's easier for me to get to
Yeah.
people.
Oh man, it's a tough one here. Work from home. I think it's I don't know. I mean, is it underrated now because it was so overrated for a long time, but now everybody's going the
Right.
other way with it. It's like, man, is it underrated now? I don't know. I can't say that it is. I gotta say overrated. I think it's still overrated, Maryam. Don't kill me. Don't shoot me. I think it's still
Okay.
overrated. All right.
We
We're
can
gonna keep
agree
it
to
going here.
disagree.
No, we yeah, totally. And let's go. Let's go. Number two. You're gonna get this one back. I feel it. Tesla, overrated or underrated?
Is Elon watching?
He's watching everything.
I know. Overrated.
He's yes, overrated. Yes, it is overrated. Ding, ding,
I'm not a
ding.
fan. There's this movie, I don't know, I can't remember the movie, but all these Teslas are running into each other at the end. I have to think of it. It's on Netflix. The End of the World or something like that, and it really scared me. So yeah, overrated for sure.
Yeah, that is scary. I don't. Oh my gosh, that's the worst. Yeah, I don't. So many things. So many reasons why. I mean, I think we're all kind of enamored with like a massive iPad interface.
Right.
I
The
know. I
phone.
know. I know. Trump was very impressed when he just sat in one recently, with the
Hmm.
big screen.
I saw that.
You saw his
I
like he
think
was selling
anything impresses
cars.
him right now.
He very easily impressed. Yes. Yeah, definitely overrated for the Teslas. They don't hold their value. Yeah, all the things. Yeah, all the things.
You have
Very
to charge
overrated.
it at a charging place. Like, if I can barely make it to pump my gas on time, like what makes you think I'm gonna make it to charge it?
Yeah, that would add to your commute. Now you got to charge. All right, let's keep it moving here. All right, nice. Back on track here.
Naps.
Naps, overrated or underrated?
Underrated. We need more naps.
How long do you nap for?
It's a good question. Sometimes I plan to nap for an hour, and next thing you know, I wake up the next day. I'm like, well, that didn't work out. Or I wake
Or
up and I'm
did
like,
it?
what day is it?
Yeah. Yeah. What year is
But
it?
I would try
Yeah.
like a good nap, like, 2 hours.
2 hour nap. Wow, that is solid nap. That's a nap where you got like wrinkles on your face and you got
Yeah.
like wipe your eyes and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, I will definitely do a 2 hour nap. If I did a 2 hour nap, it's usually 'cause I was doing the wrong thing the day before. But I'll tell you what, I'm a big 15-minute power nap person. Even 10 minutes, like let me just.
I feel like I wake up like shaking, like that wasn't enough.
You do. You wake up like whoa, like you can do. But I'll do that in my office. Don't tell nobody. But I'll get in my office and I'll close the door and I'll like lean my head back. I got this big cushy chair. I'll lean my head back and I just like I put the like little like busy sign on my door and I take naps sometimes in there.
I'm gonna have to take your advice.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice. 15 minutes. It's just enough.
That's all you need.
Drew, this is a valid question. Is that a couch nap or an in the bed nap?
It has to be in the bed, but I usually fall asleep on my couch, so it's a couch nap for me.
When you nap, I'm going to ask this of everybody out here. When you nap, are you napping if it's in the bed, are you napping above the covers or under the covers? Because me and my wife fight about this all the time. She's an over the covers napper, and I'm like, if I'm going to do it, especially if I'm going to get like too solid in, I'm going under the covers. I'm going all the way. Are you because she feels like it's not really sleeping. If she's over the covers, she can like nap for 5 hours. As long as she's going to go under the covers like a degenerate. But I think I'm under the cover. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right.
Under. It has to be under.
Under, yeah.
To be comfy, like
Gotta
snuggled
snuggle
up.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably why I
100%.
take 2 hour naps, which I should
Yeah.
take power. I'm like 30 minutes, maybe a good time, but then here I come 2 hours later.
Yeah. I'm with you. Not saying if your nap involves a date change, it's not a nap. That's fair. That's fair.
It
Bravo. Clay Poe saying the movie was Leave the World Behind.
There we go.
Thank you, Clay. It freaked him out, and naps are essential.
Yes, they are.
That's
Did you
an
know
appetizer.
in Iran, I don't know if they still do this, but they would shut down business during the day, and the men would go home, take a nap, eat with their family, and then come back for the rest of the day.
Just the men. Just the
Well,
men
usually
do
it's
this.
the men, yes. Yeah.
Wow. So the
Women
women don't
don't.
get naps?
There's a lot of women rights issues going on in Iran. It's always been an
The
issue.
right
So
to
they
nap.
just giving men, you don't have the right to nap. Mm-mm.
Wow. That's got to be up there. Like, I feel like that comes right after voting. Like, as soon as you could vote, boom, naps.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll get there. In my house, it's only the women that nap. The men aren't allowed to. If you got a nap, you got to go to work and nap. She can't nap at
Yeah.
home.
That's why you're
Wife
napping
does
in
not.
your office.
That's why I nap in my office. I work late and nap at home, nap in the office. Oh my gosh, this is great. People saying the appetizer, that was funny. Good stuff. Stephanie says underrated. Yes. Stacy's always under the
Stephanie's my friend. We call her Sleepy.
sleepy. Here we go. All right, let's keep it moving here. We're pro naps. Definitely underrated. Overrated, underrated. Social media.
Overrated.
Overrated. Let me ask you, do you include LinkedIn as social media?
Man, no, because it's a professional network. If people are using it for social media purposes, then we have issues. I use it for networking and just kind of posting about like professional growth and things that you're accomplishing. So I guess you can say it's a form of social media, but it's not the social media like Instagram and TikTok and
Yeah.
Facebook where people lose themselves in that social media world and kind of lose real touch of real life. I think LinkedIn is real life. You're posting about, if you're posting like me, you're posting about your accomplishments or, your company and what it can do and just like attracting talent and just,
Yeah.
it's definitely not like a social media brand like Instagram and all the other ones. So no.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one for me. I do think LinkedIn is a social media. Of course, everything touts itself as a social media now. I've actually gotten more into Instagram, which sounds really immature, but I've really enjoyed how easy it is to create the reels and the videos and the composite videos of all the things you go out. Like we were
You
in
have apps
Nashville.
for
I got
that.
so I don't. But then where I got to put it somewhere,
Oh, that's true. Well, then you
I
do it
gotta
in the
post
app and
it,
you post it on
or
Instagram.
it didn't happen, right? I
I'm
don't
the
know. I've
best
been
to
liking
talk
it.
because I love posting on my Instagram nice, funny stories, and I get it, but I can't compare LinkedIn to Instagram. I just don't see it the same.
Miriam,
I'm
so
two different
so
people on them.
I got to ask you, whenever somebody talks about social media and all that on the show, right? Because we get a few people that do overrated, underrated social media. I always ask, how much screen time do you normally have? What's your average screen time like?
Why do you have to put me on the spot like that?
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
How do I check it on? Can I check it on my phone?
You go in, yeah, you pull down the top and you on here you just search screen time on the search bar,
Okay.
and it'll bring you to your settings. So
wow.
I'll tell you mine first.
Okay.
Mine is 8 hours 18 minutes, and it's down 15% from last week. So I'm a bit reformed.
I'm having a user error moment. Hold on.
It may just not be able to count that high. You may need to get an upgrade.
Help me, I'm poor. Yeah, maybe.
It's not. So when you put screen time in, it's not telling you what it is.
Yeah, but it's telling me to like activate this and that and
Oh no.
screen time. Maybe I just don't want to answer. Screen time. Okay.
Maybe I just don't want to answer. All right, I'll let you. Oh, Francisco says, "Show us on the screen." LOL. I'll show you mine, Francisco.
Yeah,
That's my
let me
8 hours
see.
18.
Mine doesn't look like, oh, look, thank you. I don't have any screen time. Look, 0.
You have no screen time. Wow, you're just like yeah.
If you
That's
were,
great.
I literally, honestly, I mean, I'm on
That's
social
fine.
media, but I haven't been on my phone. Like, I owe so many responses back to people that
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop.
So my most used app right now was Safari. Oddly enough, that's odd. That means I'm just doing research for work mostly, right, Samara? Not pricing concert tickets or nothing. Messages was number 2. LinkedIn was number 3. Instagram was number 4. Pandora was 5. Because I'm a Pandora person. We've been getting in a lot of fights on our staff about that. Followed by Lyft. I spent a lot of time on Lyft in Nashville. A lot of time. Sorry.
Trying to make sure you got picked up.
Yeah, well, apparently Lyft doesn't come right away. It's cheaper, but it doesn't come right away. All right, social media, you said overrated. I don't know. I like it so much, Maryam. I like it. I want it. I don't want to give it up.
You don't have to, but it's overrated.
All right. It's overrated. All right, fine. I'll give it to you. Not that you've ever been on it with 0 minutes screen time, but anyway, yeah, sure.
Hey, I showed y'all evidence, okay?
Evidence. Somebody tampered with the evidence.
Screen time don't lie.
We need a request for evidence. We need to pull some new evidence here.
Oh man.
Immigration joke.
RFE.
You got an RFE on your phone. This is great. All right, what do we got? How many? We got one more left? One more left. This is for all the marbles here, Maryam. Overrated, underrated, handwritten notes.
Underrated.
When was the last handwritten note you got?
That's a good point. A long time because
A
they're
long time.
underrated.
I love them. I agree with you. I can't
give
remember the
handwritten
last
notes
one I
to
got.
people.
You do? 1755 North Collins Boulevard, Suite 220. Holla at me.
You're gonna start getting actually I did a leadership program, and one of the things that was in the program was handwritten notes, and I open them actually on a daily basis because they're all from different people that have gone through the program. They don't know you. It's just a random note written by somebody that cares about the process and the program that we're in. And some days you're just having a really rough day, and I go to that, envelope, and there's a lot, by the way, because when you graduate,
Yeah.
it's like everyone that's ever gone through it just kind of bombards you with all these amazing things. But I literally, it's crazy because there's sometimes things going on in that day, and I just want to go open up a note. And I open it, and it's telling me something that will keep me in a better place with exactly what is going on. And I'm like, I always used to say, like, the FBI is on our phones when we start talking about something, and all of a sudden all these ads start to show up, and you're like, oh, the feds is watching.
Yeah.
And then I see these notes, and I'm like, it's God. Like, God knows exactly, or whatever you may believe in, what you need at that right moment. And opening one of those notes, it's beautiful. I love it. I love handwritten notes. So people need to do it more often because you don't know how it can impact the person.
Yeah, and I think it's beautiful when you save them too. To your point, I think that's really cool. I worked with a guy, Mark, who spent a year, and he wrote a handwritten note every day for a year to somebody. And a lot of them were to like coworkers or family or, customers that he appreciated. And then he started running out of people like second half of the year. And he started just writing them to like famous people. And so and some of them like wrote back. Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah. And so he saved some of those.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of power to it. I think the key is to have good stationery and a nice pen.
Right.
You
Because
know.
we remember the pens
Yeah,
during the
you gotta
day.
the penmanship kind of like it's gotta look decent. All right, you know what? You gotta definitely get a point for handwritten notes. This is awesome. Maryam, you did a great job today. People are confessing their screen time here, 8 hours 49 minutes. Well
Mine's
done. Way to
zero,
make
by
it
the way.
count. Actually, we had somebody suggest to check the other phone. I don't know if you know this person or not. She goes by Sleepy in the streets. She says, let's check the other phone. So
That's
she
my
might know
work
something.
phone.
An
See how it
anonymous
goes.
tipster called in and said, let's check the other phone.
Steph, just go to sleep.
Go back to bed, Steph. Under
Yeah.
the covers. Goodbye.
Yes. Literally, if you want to meet someone that can sleep in less than a second, it's definitely a miracle.
Stephanie. Yeah.
Let's see.
You don't have to show us. But
No, I know, but I wanted to check anyways. I mean, I am on my phone. My phone had my back today. That's all I have to
yeah.
say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Miriam, this has been so much fun. It's been really cool. I can't wait to get to Houston and we can do it again in person.
Yes,
Be great to see you. I remember getting to hang out with you for a hot minute and in DC at WERC. That was awesome as well.
this is a lot of
And
fun.
yeah, you're one of those people I was really grateful to meet last year. So
Likewise.
super cool. Do you want to leave anyone with a final thought as we wrap the show?
Yeah, I mean, you're doing amazing. It always gets hard to get better, but don't give up. Life is life, and it's what you make of it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And you're doing amazing too. And all of you out there are doing amazing. And thank you. We wouldn't have a show without you. So thanks for checking in. Thanks for getting in the comments. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate everybody. And we will see you next week, everyone. Take care.
Thank
Be
you.
good.